I also want to tell him many things. But if I tell you, it's easier. So he'll just listen by circumstance. So anyhow, it's Easter today. Easter is the day in the Christian tradition. It's the most popular religious day in this whole country. So it's actually a very, very powerful and amazing thing that we're coming together and practicing something spiritual, because it's actually in the air of this whole country. You know, most of the time in this country, there's practically zero emphasis on spirituality. Actually, practically in most people's lives, there's practically zero emphasis on spirituality. But actually, spirituality is the very essence of life. And to give it no time at all is just so deeply foolish. It's incredible. But to even give it, put it on the back burner, which many people in this country and all over the world are doing, it's second class. You know, first class is all of my desires. Maintaining my family, maintaining all my desires, maintaining my job, these are first class activities. Yeah, if I have a little extra time, second class spirituality. But that's exact opposite of what should be. The fundamentals of reality is that spirituality is the very essence of life. It is real life, actually, in fact. And this was the message of Jesus, who is being celebrated today in Easter. That's if you want real eternal life, you practice spirituality. You approach God with all of your heart, mind, soul, strength, and will. That's the first. He said there's two main commandments: to love God with all of one's heart, one's mind, one's strength, one's will, and then to love one another as you'd love yourself. You know, to extend that love to all other, to wish well to other living entities. So these are Jesus' main two commandments. We're not going to go into anything that, you know, the passion of the Christ, and he resurrected today, that's a really amazing thing. He literally, you know, he appeared dead and he resurrected and appeared to many people. And this is the final miracle he performed in this world before he went up in the clouds or somewhere else. Or some scholars say he went to India and things like that. Who knows what he did? But anyway, he left and, you know, yeah, after the, what's that? After the resurrection, there is some that say there, and that he actually left his body in Kashmir. It's actually crazy. There's a place in Kashmir where they have a burial, and the body that's buried there has holes in the hands and the feet. Yeah, it's really interesting. So anyway, if you want to look into that story, you can. But anyhow, no matter what happened, what Jesus did and stood for is absolutely amazing. And actually, he set the fundamental precedent for actually bhakti yoga as it's being practiced in this world. Because without Jesus's teaching of this bhakti to the Western world, when Srila Prabhupada came here 50 years ago, we never could have accepted what he was saying. In ancient India, they could have accepted. This is in their blood. But actually, without Jesus doing what he did, we never would have been able to accept it. So what did Jesus actually do? He set the tenets of that one, God is a person. He said, our Father, yes. He said, God is a person and I have a relationship to that person. Now, Jesus' relationship, and this is the most foundational relationship, is like a child to its parent, you know. We actually, in our bhakti tradition, this is, we don't subscribe to this relationship. We're not looking, even though it's fundamentally true, in tattva it's true. Meaning that, yes, God is the source of all living beings, and so by nature we are his, you could say, offspring. In something there is a relationship. But there's a reason why that this is not the relationship we emphasize. Why don't we emphasize this relationship? Because what we've come to understand, and even what Jesus taught, is that to ultimately love God, you know, love means what? Service. Love means service. If you love somebody, you serve them, you know. But what the nature between a child and a mother, even though the child may love the mother, but it's pure exploitation, actually. It's pure exploitation. You know, I'm learning very firsthand, watching my son just exploit my wife's body like it's his body in every single way, you know. And actually this is mentioned as the number one, this is the number one exploitation in this world. is watching a child with its mother. But children exploit the parents. But in many ways, that's why he's teaching them to at least rely on God for your daily bread and so on. But actually, the higher levels of religious sentiment actually transcend the childhood, the child to the parent mentality. Actually, it should hopefully will evolve to the Lord is my master and I am the servant. Or maybe even so much love can be accumulated where you see the Lord on friendship terms. Or, even like Mother Yashoda or even Mother Mary and where you can actually feel like looking after the Lord. The Lord becomes your like your child in essence. This is possible, you see. And then, of course, we have the highest love of the Krishna, Radha, and the gopis highlighted in Vrindavan. So, but without Jesus performing everything that he performed and giving the message that he gave, we'd never really have a chance in the West to even understand that God is a person. There's a personality behind God, and we have a relationship with God, because almost all other traditions, God is very vague and not really relatable. But Jesus actually was the one to also, Jesus is giving something, Jesus was gone from the Bible for 18 years. And there's all kinds of records of a Saint Isa at the same exact time giving a really interesting preaching tour throughout India and Syria and other places. So anyway, this is coming. What Jesus is teaching is coming actually from the same wisdom scriptures we're drawing from in the Vedas. But Jesus had to bring it back to people who weren't ready, so he had to give the most foundational thing. That God is a person, he is our Father, and that we are his relationship, and we have to start from the most basic thing we are trying to exploit our Father. Because we are, We're coming from the world of exploitation. Everyone here is here because we have the mood of exploiting. We're not interested in serving at all. It's in this country, it's seen as so degrading that it's practically illegal to have servants. Like slavery was just like the culture of having like servants and things like that. But it's now you better at least offer a pay. It's actually illegal to not offer pay, in this country. Because why? Because there's no culture here in wanting to serve. It's wanting to always be in the position of enjoyment. But in spiritual life, it's complete opposite. Actually, the highest level of bhakti is those who are exploited by God the most. That's the highest level of bhakti. So if we want to increase our love for God, we would want to design our life in such a way, live our life in such a way that we are being exploited by the Lord in the topmost form that is possible. So this is actually bhakti. So Jesus, he kind of had to start from the bottom, where we have no at all mood of wanting to be exploited by God. We want to exploit God. So he is given the relationship of child to parent. But there is an evolution. And so our bhakti tradition only is going to give that evolution. So we're sharing that through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. But I do want to, I did promise my dad today that say something about Jesus. And he comes here and I'll have some dharma. I have some dharma to respect my father's orders when it's in alignment with Bhagavat Dharma. But it's in alignment with Bhagavat Dharma. I should glorify the great Guru, Master, Son of God, Jesus. So this is my short glorification on Easter for Jesus. And then now I want to just tie it into what we do every day. We just go through the meaning of one bhajan. Can I have my little Gaudiya Giti Gucha book? Someone? Just one book. All right. And we're going to go through the bhajan. I'm going to pick the shortest bhajan that we have here, which is Madhava. Where's Jaya Radha Madhava? Oh, there it is. So, that is a mystery. If you can find out before I can find out. It is Jaya Radha Madhava. It is 158. So anyway, I'm going to tell you exactly what it means, so it's not so essential. Okay. So Jaya Radha Madhava. So it says Sri Krishna is the lover of Sri Radha. Jaya Kunja Bihari, and is the enjoyer of pastimes in the kunjas, which are like forest groves. So this is talking about what God, and actually it's interesting because there is a Christian saint. It would be very nice if someone could Google what her name is. But her name is, not you guys, maybe one of the Partha or some of these guys.
I need a little more info than that.
Yeah, but she actually had a vision. She had a vision of heaven in her meditation, and what she saw was a very dark, beautiful man surrounded by so many young maidens decorated in flowers, entering a forest. Her name was, I think, Saint Victoria or something like this, but she's an acknowledged Catholic saint. An acknowledged saint, and she literally had darshan of what's being described in this bhajan about Krishna and his the way he's frolicking and enjoying with the most dearmost associates in the highest realms of the heavenly abode, Goloka Vrindavan. So very interesting. Maybe you find it, maybe you don't, but we can share this another time. So anyway, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha and her lover, Madhav. Kunja Bihari, the one who's enjoying in the kunjas, or these secret forest groves. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha, he who is dear, the dearmost beloved of the gopis, the Gopijan, the associate of gopis. Giri Varadari, and the most excellent of mountains, which is Govardhan. He is the Dari, he is the holder. You've heard of this pastime where Krishna lifted the mountain on his pinky. And so, Jaya Yashoda Nandana, the son of Mother Yashoda. Jaya Vrajajana Ranjana. I think he's the one who gives delight to the Vrajajan, to all of the, what is it? Yes, he gives pleasure to the residents of Vraj. And then, Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari. He wanders he's a chari, he's a vanachari, he's like a forest wanderer on the banks of the Yamuna. So this is actually describing what God is doing at the highest level and what his devotees are doing. They have many pastimes with him. So it's kind of a nice juxtaposition. We have two. Jesus is giving the foundational, where we are like babies exploiting God. Give me this, give me that, give me that. But as we evolve, what this tradition offers is it shows where God is in his highest realms, and what we could be looking at in the highest form of how we can give God the most pleasure. And simultaneously, just by circumstance, we will also receive the highest pleasure. But when we're not looking for pleasure, then we can get the most pleasure. If you're looking for pleasure, then you'll be checked. So anyhow, we're going to do a kirtan now. Parth is going to give us a class. And then we are going to conclude our program with Arti and a nice feast. So thank you so much for allowing me to just say something about the, Easter, and by my dad's wish. And then also going through this, every week we'll do this. We'll go through one of our bhajans that we sing, so we actually know what we're doing. It helps to actually know what you're doing instead of just singing in a different language. So
did Nrsimha show you there's a new version of this? It's huge.
The new Gaudiya Giti
It
Gucha.
just came out.